All right, Chief Meteorologist Joel Barnes here. Thanks for joining us tonight on our Facebook Live. If this storm does become tornado warned or becomes a more significant storm, we'll break in television. If not, we will have another TV update coming here probably around the top of the hour in 30 minutes on these storms. But again, we have seen significant flooding. Almost all of West Tennessee is under a flash flood warning that has been issued today. So flooding obviously going to become a major concern. But we are watching this cluster of thunderstorms. One severe thunderstorm warning tonight just to the southwest of Jackson. It looks like that storm is coming, the northern section's coming into Gibson County, but this is where we're most concerned about, that southern area of this storm, which is awful close to Jackson. None of this is expected to rotate up north, but you probably will get some thunder, lightning, and heavy rain if you're watching us in Gibson County. But here's the area of the storm that Jordan and I are watching, who's in with me tonight. We got our little inflow notch here from this storm. It's trying to spin up there and maybe even have tightened a little bit, so we're watching it very closely as there's definitely some rotation with this storm. We'll see what the National Weather Service decides to do. They may play it cautious because it is coming into Jackson, which is a highly populated area. And sometimes if there's any question at all, when you get a spin-up area and it's coming into a highly populated area, they will issue a tornado warning. So we'll see what they go ahead and do with this. You need to stay with us, though, if you're in Jackson. A lot of this is elevated rotation. So far, we have struggled to get sections of the lower portions of the storm to drop a tornado today. That doesn't mean it won't happen, but we are watching this very closely as it comes on through into Jackson. It is south of where they drew the severe thunderstorm warning, so maybe they need to at least extend the severe thunderstorm warning to include all of Jackson. Jordan, any news from the National Weather Service on our area of rotation?
They have up the size of the hail on this storm.
Jordan, you got your mic, bud. So he said they updated the size of the hail, and then it looks like a secondary area of rotation, but not as prevalent up into Alamo. So we're going to get Jordan's mic here going up here in a second. But there's a look at that storm, kind of the timing of how it's going to move up to the northeast. Humboldt, Jackson, this is going to be coming your way. It's going to be coming into Humboldt any minute now. As it tracks up to the northeast. Probably got about 5 minutes or so till it comes into the Jackson area. Jordan, now what were you saying, bud?
They upgraded the hail. Instead of it being quarter size, they've bumped it up to $half size, so that's going to be about 1.25 inch max hail size, and that was radar indicated near the Haywood-Madison County line, just to the southeast of Bells, to the northwest of Huntersville, just to the north of I-40.
All right, so we got Jordan on camera there. He's sitting at the Weather Center. We'll be checking back on with him, but not a tight area of rotation, but a big area of rotation. So these are at least strong winds. I'm betting these are close to 60-mile-an-hour winds that will be coming into South Jackson. We'll stay with this for another scan. Again, we do have that little area of rotation up near Alamo, but just with where that is in the section of the storm, it concerns me less than the other one. But we got, you notice those kind of two areas of rotation there off in the distance. This looks like some pretty strong winds, though, I think, coming into northern Gibson County. That'll be coming into Trenton right now. Those look like pretty strong winds, maybe 60 miles an hour coming into Trenton. So we'll draw a line on this line that is coming on through, kind of give you an idea of timing as it comes into the Humboldt area. So it looks like the northern section has got some pretty strong winds coming into Gibson County. We'll see about that little area there. It's tough to produce a tornado in that section of a storm. Not 100% impossible, but I think we're just looking at straight line winds with this little line, which is going to come on into Trenton, Milan, Gibson, and Humboldt. So that's our northern section of that line. And then the southern area as well is trying to rotate a little bit. So well, there's our northern section. We'll bookmark that and get back to that here in a minute. Just got a new scan there. Hold on, we'll go check out that last scan we had. Again, so definitely got a notch up there near Trenton, Dyer. So we're going to have to watch that. But that far up north, I think we're pretty low on storm energy to produce a tornado. Not impossible, so we're going to watch it. Our southern area here, definitely broad rotation and some strong winds that I think are coming in to Jackson. So Again, no tornado warning, just a severe thunderstorm warning. Do they have a tornado possible tag on that, Jordan?
They don't actually. So they're not concerned. So they did put out a little statement on this cell, not in a bulletin or anything, but structurally speaking, it is a textbook supercell with large hail, but there's no evidence of low-level rotation.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. I thought most of that rotation was in the mid-levels, but I just wanted to play it safe. Pretty big city. So this is, I think, where our hail is. We'll cut a slice through this storm where I think the biggest hail is with this. And you notice the hail, it's going up there a ways, Jordan. You notice all the way up to maybe
Almost
30,000 feet.
Right.
So although that's where it's starting, but you notice right around 10,000 feet here, this is where the larger hail is. You see that right there? That's where the larger hail's sitting within the storm, and that's kind of going to drop through. So so we'll watch it. So again, according to the National Weather Service, they're not concerned for a tornado. As I said, we're missing low-level rotation. That's why they pulled the tornado watch out of Madison County. It's just one of the ingredients you need. Not all supercells produce tornadoes. A lot of them just produce hail and some gusty winds. They look impressive on the radar, but if you don't have low-level rotation, you can't get the tornado to come down. It'll just continue to spin in the mid-levels of the mesocyclone. And according to the National Weather Service, that's what they're saying with this storm. So again, they've been pretty good the last couple of days. So I would trust them on that. Although it definitely looks spooky there on the radar. Do want to show you this. We got one heck of a lightning show going on right now outside of Jackson. If you're looking off to the west, you can see this storm really well on our camera. Do you see? It looks right. It looks like a huge wedge tornado, right? That's not what it is, but that's the thunderstorm. You see where it gets dark there and it gets dark there. So that's our storm line coming on in with that cell, which is coming on in from the southwest. So gonna have a lot of lightning. Going to be a little windy. And we probably will have some hail coming on in. We'll try to get a closer idea of who's most likely to see that hail in the next scan or two. But good news again, we've been downgraded from a level 3 to a level 2. We're under a slight risk of severe weather tonight, drops the tornado chance in half, cuts the hail, wind size down, but the flood concern still remaining high. We still have a flood watch out through Sunday morning, and these are our only 6 counties in West Tennessee now under a tornado watch. The tornado watch that was out for Madison, that was out for Carroll, that's been pulled. Again, they're missing low-level rotation up north, so the Storm Prediction Center is not concerned with tornadoes in those areas, which includes Madison. So again, nobody's perfect, but they've been pretty accurate with this system so far. So there's our excessive rain that we have coming on in. We've got this line of thunderstorms, another one south of Covington, and another one there up near Tiptonville that's producing hail. Again, we're going to continue to show you this rain map because it looks like we're going to be dealing with some pretty hefty rain totals as we get going into tonight, tomorrow, and then again on Saturday. So there's our line of thunderstorms. We do have the one severe thunderstorm that is coming into Jackson right now. There's our little hail. I don't think it's large hail. Maybe quarter size at most. It's probably going to be smaller than that. Maybe pea. Maybe a marble size, but we'll see. These storms that on radar were looking like they weren't producing tennis ball size hail either yesterday, and we had some pictures of that. We'll show you some pictures coming up here in a minute on our Facebook Live when things calm down with this storm. But that's a lot of wind that's coming on into South Jackson. So if you're Jackson south, you're going to get some wind. If you're Jackson northward, I don't think it's going to be as bad from Jackson to Three-Way. But then it looks like we've got those winds coming on into Humboldt right now. Those look probably 50 miles an hour into central and southern Gibson County. So that's looks like it's coming into the Humboldt area right now with some pretty strong winds. That's that line right there. But not expecting a tornado along this line, but some winds, maybe some hail mixing on in. And here's some pretty strong wind signatures as well, but not organized like a tornado. So we've got some winds on the way right along 45 from Jackson down through Pinson, coming into Meaden right now with those strong winds. We just got a brand new scan. So this is moving pretty quickly, this area of wind that is blasting on through. I'm surprised they haven't issued a new severe thunderstorm warning because here's the end of the severe thunderstorm warning, and I think these are probably the strongest winds with the system. So we'll get a new track on this for those of you that are watching it, and then we'll check in with meteorologist Jordan Hubbard to see what he's seeing and what he's hearing from the National Weather Service. So it looks like maybe the Huntersville area, if we get a different radar, is picking up the hail a little bit better than the Memphis radar. All right, so there's our brand new severe thunderstorm warning. All right, that does include Jackson now, so I was waiting for that one. Severe thunderstorm warning is now out until 9:30 for Carroll, Chester, Henderson, and Madison counties. So new severe thunderstorm warning. That is for up to ping pong size hail, so bigger than quarter size, they think, and 60-mile-an-hour winds. So Jordan's going to see if he can find where the largest hail is going to be. He's going to point that out for you guys. We'll get over with him here in a minute. But again, we got a new severe thunderstorm warning out, which does now include most of Carroll and Henderson counties as the strongest winds coming through Jackson right now. Jordan, why don't you go ahead and show us where you think the hail is right now on Max 2.
All right, folks, so right now it looks like the largest hail is going to be between Westover and Adair. That's going to be coming onto Highway 412 here very shortly, just to the west of Old Bells Road. So that's the overpass coming into Jackson, just on the outside of town, right before the exit to get on to Country Club Lane, coming into town on 412. But also it looks like we're getting a bit of a cell splitting going on. I think that's why they issued the warning to take a more easterly track. It does look like we're starting to get a second supercell spinning up right on top of Jackson. They did add a tornado possible tag with the latest update. We've also gone up to 1.5 inch hail. Winds haven't changed, but again, we're looking at possibly an area of rotation just around South Jackson for a new little area of rotation. That's going to be right before the Highway 18 breaks off from 45, just outside of Molesis, between Bemis and Molesis.
Yeah, that's the one that we've been watching for a while, so we'll keep a close eye on it from the National Weather Service. We'll get back to Jordan here in a minute. Let's go full back on Max 1. So again, here's our storm. As Jordan was saying, it was splitting kind of into two sections and moving more to the east. Looks like it now has moved past Westover as it slides on through, but there's our look at that rotation south of the city. So we're sitting here with that bright area of some winds that is coming into 45. This will be coming into Luray, so you probably want to get away from windows, Luray, and eventually coming into Lexington with some strong straight line winds here, as Jordan was showing, kind of two different sections of that cell splitting. Still got those strong winds right now coming into Humboldt, Trenton dropping down into Three-Way. These are approaching Milan here in about 5 minutes. Cedar Grove, you're about 10 minutes out. But strong winds, I think you can see them pretty clearly now moving through Trenton, Humboldt, and then approaching Milan and Medina. Bradford, you're kind of right on the edge of those strong winds as well. And we've got our rotation south of the city. Doesn't look like tornado type rotation right now, but it's definitely got an inflow notch, and it's definitely pretty bright. So we're watching these storms as they're coming on through here on the velocity product. And there's a look at kind of that line that extends up to the north. Our severe thunderstorm warning's out now till 9:30. And again, it does include Lexington, Wildersville, Holiday, Huntington, Parsons, all expected to be impacted by this line of storms as it comes on through tonight. Got another thunderstorm up near Tiptonville. We've got a couple more down here into Arkansas that are going to come by. Still, the greatest concern for tornadoes tonight is going to be any of these cells that come here into northern Mississippi. There's a little bit better low-level rotation closer to Mississippi than there is Jackson northward. So we'll be watching that pretty closely tonight. Those storms are still firing up. We had that one supercell, watch it racing, and then it just kind of fizzled out, kind of trying to reorganize south of Memphis. So that's another storm that we're going to have to watch. So here's a look at the timing tonight for these storms coming on in. It'll continue, I think, by midnight. I think it's probably the end of our severe weather, and then we'll keep some rain around overnight, and then we'll start to focus in on that flooding thing. But I also wanted to keep you aware of Friday. It looks like we've got a chance Friday. We're going to warm up into the 80s, and there could be some supercells close to the Mississippi River Friday evening, continuing into Friday night. Will these get east of the Mississippi River? Well, that's up for discussion, but they're going to be pretty close. All right, let's check back in with Jordan real quick on the storm. That Jordan's keeping a very close eye on it on Max 2. Go ahead, Jordan.
All right, folks, we have an update on the newest severe thunderstorm warning. They've upped it to 2-inch size hail. That is hen egg sized hail. Again, still 60-mile-per-hour winds, still maintaining the tornado possible tag. But we also have an update from emergency management and parts of West Tennessee Healthcare. Parts of South Jackson and south towards Bemis and Molesis along Highway 45 have taken power hits, and we have a report of a 50-mile-per-hour thunderstorm wind gust near Meaden just within the last 5 minutes.
All right, yeah, and we're really hearing those winds whipping here right now at the station as our storm is coming by with some pockets of hail and some pretty strong winds. Again, severe thunderstorm warning, not a tornado warning, but there's still an area of a little bit of rotation that we're watching southeast of Jackson, which looks like it's going to be heading into Beach Bluff, Crucifer, and Luray. And then there's a couple different hail pockets, I think, inside here. Some of those darker colors that you see, and it's probably where the supercell is trying to produce some hail. But I can tell you, it is pounding rain here at the station, and those winds are whipping at least 50-mile-an-hour gusts. I can hear them outside. So, but we're right in the heart of it here in Jackson. So again, those are straight line winds that you see up into Gibson County coming in through Gibson, Humboldt, Milan. Those are on the way. And this just looks like wind, so it doesn't look like a tornado is going to spawn up, at least from what I'm seeing right now with this, and kind of put this in a loop over the last 30 minutes. You do see that it is tracking pretty quickly to the northeast, so we'll get a little timing on this one. This little bow structure is where I think the strongest winds are, and they're heading this way, eventually coming in to Lexington. So there's what we have on the way. Here's a look at the camera outside here at our tower cam, which is taking a beating, which is currently in downtown Jackson, and I'm expecting the tower cam to see some stronger winds coming on in the next 30 seconds or so, as it's very close to us here at the studio, and that's where we were getting pounded. But you notice the light show off to the west has just been nonstop lightning coming on down. This storm, again, as it moves through Jackson, hail, gusty winds. It's not a tornado warned storm, but it's still a pretty dangerous one tonight. Again, we have been downgraded to a slight risk, but that doesn't mean we won't get a tornado tonight. Doesn't mean we won't get large hail, gusty winds. Just means conditions a little less favorable for severe weather than they were this evening. And we still have that tornado watch out for our southern counties if you're just joining us on our Facebook. And the flood threat remains extremely high. All right, back to our storm line coming through here from Martin down through Milan and Jackson. We do not need any more rain here in Jackson. Flash flood warnings all over the place. We'll get to those coming up here a little bit later on our Facebook Live, but we want to stay pretty focused on our storm right now that's whipping those winds on the way through. So it's beginning to pass downtown Jackson right now with the rain. Looks like the hail is going to be very close to tracking right up I-40. And there's our little inflow notch where it's trying to spin on up there near Beach Bluff and Crucifer. But as of now, the National Weather Service is not concerned with a tornado, although they did said it's not impossible for one to develop with this storm. So we're going to watch it closely. There's our hail pockets, but these are some strong straight line winds whipping on through, which are about to head into Luray, Lexington on the way, and then our northern section is going all the way up now north of Dyer. Looks like through Bradford. And that may be even going up a little bit further north. So let's kind of zoom this one out a little bit, get a little further north on that line of gusty winds, see just how far north it goes, if it makes it up to Sharon, Greenfield. So it looks like it cuts off pretty much there on the Gibson County line with those real strong winds just to the north of Bradford. So southern storm, though, definitely strong winds here. You can see those bright colors now southeast of Jackson that are heading over towards Luray. We're going to continue to watch this as it marches through tonight. Again, not looking tornadic to me right now, but a dangerous storm nonetheless with some really strong winds. So general direction, tracking to the northeast, Lexington around 9:15. Looks like Pinson, it's knocking on the door for you. Luray at the top of the hour. Looks like Lexington again about 15 minutes after that if it continues to produce these gusty winds and moves off into the same direction. So there's definitely the hail. I'm starting to see what appears to be some brighter colors maybe on the hail. So we'll get a focus in right there where that hail core is. Looks like just to the northeast of Jackson. That hail is looks pretty good size. That's heading near Claybrook. That kind of give you some street names. We can get them to pop up. So it looks like right north of I-40. There's some, all right, so there's a look at some of the areas getting the hail just north of I-40, Stewart Road, Lone Oak area, Seven Oaks, Waynick Road. It looks like it's picking up some hail, and that hail itself is moving to the northeast. So Law, Mount Gilead, you probably want to, if you're on Law Road, this is about to produce some hail on Law Road and then tracking up to the northeast. We'll go ahead and get a quick update here with Jordan, who's also been looking at some stuff. Jordan, what do you see?
All right, so we're looking at a rear flake downdraft surge. So right where that you see that little inflow notch, the winds behind it are getting stronger. So they updated the severe thunderstorm warning to up to 70 mile per hour wind gusts max. That'll be impacting near Liberty Tech here very shortly. Actually, it's just to the east of Liberty Tech. It'll pass to the south of Claybrook, but Claybrook, we could get some of that larger hail. Blue Goose, you'll be in the path of the stronger winds here very shortly as it crosses into Henderson County. White Fern, it should pass you to the north. But farther downwind, looks like Timberlake. You'll need to keep an eye on this. Wildersville, Alberton, all of these communities need to keep an eye on this for some stronger winds coming into town very shortly. We have a report of nickel-size hail on Oil Well Road at the 45 bypass here in Jackson, and marble-size hail report at Ashport Road in Oakfield.
All right, on top of that, look at the lightning on the map here. It looks like we've got almost 900 lightning strikes there in that area. And just with our little one storm, we're looking at that one storm's got about 400 strikes in the last 10 minutes. And you can still see it on our camera here. You can see that lightning really firing up off in the distance. We're still looking west on our cam, so Jordan's going to move this cam and look a little bit further to the north and east and see if he can find some more lightning or something showing more from this storm here in a minute. But I'm going to get back to the radar here, and here is our storm. And then we'll see what Jordan can find up on the camera there on Max 1, and we'll get back to him here in just a minute. So here's our line of definitely the most spooky storm right now is right here in Madison County. It's got some hail right along I-40, and as Jordan said, that hail core, where Oil Well Road is, if you kind of track that back, just north of 45, just north of Jackson. So that's where the hail, I think, is going. So I think it's going to track eastward, maybe real close to Wildersville if it continues to produce hail. And then that rear flank downdraft, that's this area here where we're getting the winds behind it. So you're getting the rear flank of the supercell, which is pushing those, accelerating those winds. But if it doesn't cooperate, it cannot produce a tornado. But so that's why we're getting those strong winds and that inflow notch heading into Crucifer. Looks like Liberty Tech along I-40, you're starting to see this moving out, but still some very strong winds. This is a fast-moving storm. Gusty winds moving into Luray right now. Those are going to continue to track up close to Lexington and Wildersville, probably here in about 10 minutes to Lexington, maybe 10 minutes before the strongest winds get into Wildersville as well. So we've got our gusty winds moving up into Gibson County as well. So there's a look at through Greenfield, down through Milan and Medina, where we're seeing some pretty strong winds, and we'll continue to watch this here in Jackson. Things have really calmed down here at the station compared to where they were at just a few minutes ago. So we've got a look here now on our camera. We're looking, I believe this is more north into downtown Jackson. Unfortunately, our camera looks like it got a little wet here. There's a look at that with the camera there showing you the light show, but look at that lightning. Just nonstop, almost looks like a strobe light off in the distance there. So pretty potent thunderstorm. It's got a severe thunderstorm warning tag on it. Hey, thanks for joining us on our Facebook and our YouTube live channels, by the way, folks. I hope you're appreciating us doing that for you here at WBBJ. I know a lot of people have reached out to us and told us they're really thankful to get the coverage that way. So anytime we're dealing with severe weather events like this that are non-tornadic, we'll be giving you coverage in other ways, again, on our live products instead of on TV. We'll still do updates on TV. If there's something you're wanting to watch on TV, you can always watch that on TV as well. Plus, you can pull up our live on your phone, so you're able to watch your favorite TV programs on ABC and CBS, as well as watching our storm coverage on your phone. So good old technology, right? Things have come a long ways from the early 1980s. I still remember being a kid and having those big TV boxes, those ones that weighed about 100 pounds when you only had a small screen on them, and you only had 4 channels, and you definitely changed the channel that your dad was watching, right? We're going to do a TV hit as well coming up here. We'll stay on our live, but our TV hit is going to go at the top of the hour. We got to remember our TV folks first. That's what pays our bills here at WBBJ as our TV. So we are still watching this northeast of Jackson. So we're going to stay on our Facebook Live, but we'll take about probably a 15-second break between our Facebook Live and our TV, where we'll be quiet, where we're getting everything ready for our TV cut-in. But almost looks like a spade, right? See that below the storm there? That's that rear flank downdraft, kind of real interesting little structure there. I'm going to move my graphics here a little bit because this storm is moving so quick. Where I set them up, it's kind of irrelevant just in about a 10-minute period. So again, we'll zoom that out. Very strange looking thunderstorm there. Kind of got that spade structure to it. Up north here, we've also got, again, that storm moving into Gibson County, but it doesn't look as impressive. It's probably still got some strong winds, though, coming into Gleason, McKinsey, and Henry, but it definitely is not as impressive as the one down here that we're watching. So again, we got that one. We'll try to sort these out a little bit so we can watch these storms as they come on through. But Jordan, you ever seen something like that? Look at that weird little.
It's a rear flank downdraft of all time, that's for sure. It's an interesting little radar image. I do have an update, however. We've got a severe thunderstorm.
Let's go to Max 2.
Starting to cross the Mississippi River into northern Lake and Obion County. This one looks to have some pretty mean hail coming into near the Reelfoot Lake State Park area. We'll get you the specifics on this if you're in Lake and Obion County. You're going to want to pay very close attention to this. It's not letting me query it, so I'm going to scroll up to the warning from the National Weather Service in Memphis. And here we go. It's tagged for $half sized hail. I would not be surprised if it's larger than that with the radar image we're looking at, with the wind gusts estimated by radar to be as high as 60 miles per hour. But again, this is going to come close to the north side of Tiptonville, the Reelfoot Lake State Park, Sandburg, Dixie, Woodland Mills, might skirt the north side of Union City, the bypass, 69 bypass around Union City. So Discovery Park would be in the path of that.
All right, so we've got a couple more thunderstorms still on the way tonight. I just put a new tracker on the strongest winds that are on Max 1 that are going to be coming through here. So let's go ahead and pull that up full here on Max 1. You'll notice these are the locations where the strongest winds are going to come on in. Darden, Lexington around 904. So there's our little wind notch. Here's still our little inflow notch, but not expecting a tornado with this. We are expecting some strong winds. And you notice the timing of your community there, including Parsons, Darden. But so there is a look at that. Strong winds right in the Luray currently area. It's heading into Lexington real soon in the next few minutes. Probably got some strong winds on the way to Lexington. Not a tornado. We still do have a little bit of signs of rotation around the bottom edge of this, but definitely not enough to that I'm thinking there's going to be a tornado on the ground. So there's a look at that. Our northern storm, we'll try to get back to that one. I do want to update you on that. So here's the northern storm also has some gusty winds. Nothing that looks like rotation, though, to me with this northern line. So kind of trying to get everything reset here for you. We'll go through it one more time. Again, in about 3 minutes, we'll do a TV hit. But we've got our big thunderstorm here with our little inflow notch south of Jackson. Up north here, we've got some straight line non-severe thunderstorm winds, according to the National Weather Service. Nothing is warned up here moving into Paris or Henry, but they are a little bit more concerned for the storm down to the south. But these probably look like 40-mile-an-hour winds. We'll try to get a report of the wind gusts that did come through Humboldt, as well as Trenton up into Gibson County to see if they were close to severe thunderstorm type winds. But they were pretty bright. There's a look at the leading edge now moving into Carroll County. So you've seen the worst of it into Gibson County right now. So, but that stronger winds now becoming an issue for Carroll County and Jackson. You've seen the worst of it, and Madison County pretty much has too, except for extreme northeastern Madison County. It's now moving into Henderson County and getting very close to Lexington. So there's our little notch up there. Strong winds coming into Lexington, Palestine, as well as Warren's Bluff. It's coming your way right now, but it's doing a number. Crucifer, Luray, White Fern with those strong winds that are moving on through right now. And again, here's a look at the timing of Darden, Parsons, and Lexington as it comes by. And then again, it looks like we're about out of it here in Jackson, which is good news. A little bit of spin. You can still try to see that where it's trying to spin a little bit here. It moves up to the northeast, but doesn't look like anything like a tornado. We're going to let Jordan wrap up our next couple minutes here of Facebook Live coverage, and then we'll get our TV coverage set up, and then we'll continue to get back on our Facebook Live. Jordan?
All right, folks, it looks like we're starting to see our hail core intensify a little bit as it's moved into Henderson County. It is the largest hail is going to be right now between I-40 and Highway 412. We'll zoom in real tight, get a street name for you here. That's Highway 104, but also Highway 22, Timberlake, Parker's Crossroads. You're all in the path of this Wildersville. As well. Maybe Alberton, you might get some strong winds. I believe the winds are going to be more of a concern for Alberton, but it looks like we're going to, as we move across Highway 22 here, it's actually going to swap to the Fort Campbell, Kentucky radar, which is picking up on a larger hail core than Memphis was.
Yep.
But I believe that's why we've gotten all those upgrades to this warning for some large hail. That bright pink is probably going to be close to ping pong, $50, maybe a little bit larger. They just put out a new tag for that warning, and that's going to be for, they've re-upped it to 2-inch hail and 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So definitely a considerable threat for both hail and wind coming into Lexington and Wildersville.
All right, we're going to jump on our live TV coverage right now, so you can watch us on ABC. We'll be right back on Facebook. Chief Meteorologist Joel Barnes here. We're still watching one heck of a lightning show here in Jackson. Things are quiet as far south as Savannah, but here in Jackson, we're really seeing things sparking on up. So we're currently at 64 degrees for most of us tonight. We do want to go ahead and show you with what it looks like currently outside as far as our thunderstorm threat, which is beginning to move on through. So that storm that we are watching here in Jackson, it is really beginning to pick up speed as it moves now east of the city. So, and it's got some large hail with it as well. So there's a look at our thunderstorm. A lot of lightning. Look at the lightning strikes, almost up to around 1,000. If you're watching us in Jackson, it's now past you, but there is hail right along the interstate, which looks like it could be heading into the Wildersville area. Here's our little inflow notch where I think the strongest winds are. Not a threat for a tornado. We're not seeing that right now, but we are seeing up to ping pong size hail just showing up now right along I-40, and that'll be heading up to the northeast. We've also had gusty winds tonight into Gibson County. Those are now moving over into Carroll and Henry County. You can see that still some strong winds, not rotation, but some strong winds that we're seeing moving into the Huntington area right now. The strongest winds right now with any of the storms are these ones spinning now into western Henderson County, just out of Madison County, approaching Lexington. So you're going to get some real strong winds right now in Lexington and Wildersville in the next few minutes. Looks like if you're down south of Lexington, you may miss out completely on this, but if you're in the city, this is going to come on through. Kind of give you a timing of Darden, Parsons, when it'll be showing up. Again, Lexington, it'll be in your area in the next couple of minutes. So if you're watching us in Jackson, it looks like things have quieted down a little bit, but we've still got a lot of spin here with this storm as it's going to continue to track on up to the northeast. Again, severe thunderstorm warning, not a tornado warning, but we're going to watch these things closely as they spin on through. Again, if you want more storm coverage, you can join us on our Facebook Live, which is going on our WBBJ news page. If this becomes a tornado warning, obviously we'll break in and cover it in its entirety, but we're going to head back to regular programming now. We'll keep you updated here in about 30 minutes on TV. In the meantime, we got more coverage on our Facebook. All right, I don't know why it pulled up the Savannah cam when I was trying to show Jackson cam. So, all right, let's go back and now we'll try to show the Jackson cam again since we're back here on Facebook. So it popped up the wrong cam on us. But there is a look at downtown Jackson. Still one heck of a lightning show, but it looks like things are a lot quieter right now in Jackson. While we were on TV, Jordan was getting some stuff set up on that hail, so let's head back over to Max 2 and Jordan. That hail on I-40 is looking pretty beastie. Yes,
if you're on I-40, you may want to pull off, find a gas station, especially if you're near Wildersville, between Mount Gilead and Wildersville on I-40. It looks like there's two distinct hail pockets just to the northeast of Blue Goose. These will both be moving towards Wildersville very, very soon. We're kind of right in the middle of two radars, so if I twitch the radar too much, we're going to get two different beams. But this is coming up to Highway 22 very shortly. It's going to miss Clarksburg and probably most of Carroll County to the south for the time being. Holiday, I would keep an eye on this near southern Benton County. Still expecting up to 2-inch hail. Up to 70-mile-per-hour winds, but the winds will be a more on the south side of the storm, so northern Decatur County. You're going to want to keep an eye on the winds with this storm. That's also going to include Alberton, Timberlake, New Safford, Hickory Forks, Bible Hill, Cozette. Should miss Parsons to the north. Yellow Springs, you'll need to keep an eye on the hail. Sugar Tree, that should take us all the way out to the Tennessee River, but we can zoom in just a little closer to see if there's anything else. But I believe that's going to be as close as we can get. Newest scan comes in. Nope, that's just the radar twitching just a little too far. Still looks like some pretty large hail along I-40 right now. We're going to pop up the debris product, not because there's a tornado, but because it'll give you a general idea of how large the hail is. You can see, that green and white. That's not a debris ball, not a debris signature from a tornado. That's what we call a scatter spike. It's when hail is just disrupting the radar beam and reflecting it in several different directions, but it looks like that could be some pretty sizable hail right along I-40. That's right now between Mount Gilead and Wildersville on I-40. We're looking at that storm's going to be moving in pretty quickly. Let me get the specifics on this, and I'll put a track on it for when it's going to get to Wildersville. We're moving east at 75 miles per hour. Wow, these storms are stepping on it, that's for sure. 75 miles per hour, that's some of the fastest storms we've seen with this entire setup all week long, but we'll put the track on the hail core and the wind core, moving 75 miles per hour. We're only going to draw that out 30 minutes because it's moving at 75. It's not going to be in West Tennessee for long. Lexington High School is right on top of you now. 907 for Parker's Crossroads, 908 for Wildersville, 914 for New Safford, 916 for Bible Hill, 918 for Jeanette, 920 for Cozette, 922 for Sugar Tree, 928 for Blue Sky, and 932 for Cagletown. That is in Humphreys County across the Tennessee River into Middle Tennessee. We do have an update on that severe thunderstorm warning. It does look like they trimmed some of the area out of it. Yes, Madison County, you are done with this storm. You're no longer under a severe thunderstorm warning. Carroll County, you are still involved in this. Henderson County, you're still in this. The northern 2/3 of Decatur County, southern 2/3 of Benton County, you are in this. It includes Parsons, Decaturville, Camden, Holiday, Lexington, Wildersville, Clarksburg, Huntingdon, Brewston, and Cedar Grove in the polygon right now.
All right, Jordan, we got a brand new severe thunderstorm warning that does include now western Obion County. That is for that cell that on Max 1 that you're seeing there over near Tiptonville. I believe that has some hail sitting just north of it. I tried to pull up a query tool on it, but it's not querying yet. So Jordan's going to try to get us some information on that, and I'll kind of give you a recap again of what we're going on Max 1 here at the wall. So here's our thunderstorm line now east of Madison County. Madison County, your threat for this thunderstorm is done. Does include Henderson and as well as central and southern Carroll County. Currently up north, it is not severe thunderstorm warned for sections of anywhere actually in Henry or Obion counties, or Weakley County, and Henry County as it comes through. We're still a little bit of a notch there southeast of Lexington, but we're not expecting a tornado with this. As it comes through, again, that hail is going to be pretty intense, we think, right along I-40 as it moves over into Wildersville. I think the hail core pretty much is going to run right over I-40. So if you know anyone traveling into that, tell them, whoa, hold on, take a break, get out of the way, because if you drive through that, you can be hit with some golf ball size hail. Definitely is not out of the question with this, what we're seeing on the radar. Southeasterly winds coming on into the inflow notch up north here. Not a severe thunderstorm warning. The strongest winds up north are in the McLemoresville area heading into Huntington. Those are probably at least 40-mile-an-hour winds. They should be below severe criteria, or you would have a severe thunderstorm warning issued. But the reason this storm is moving so fast, Jordan talked about that rear flank downdraft. You watch the winds whipping around. It's pushing this whole thing, just sliding the bottom section of this storm away from Henderson, away from Scotts Hill, and probably getting the winds whipping around right now in Lexington. Strongest winds are right along that leading edge heading into Wildersville with that hail. So you got hail and strong winds coming into Wildersville right now. No rotation, but strong winds in Lexington, New Safford, Alberton. I know we talked a lot about you last night when you had that area of rotation coming on by, which we don't think produced a tornado, thank goodness. But then unfortunately right after that, that's when we focused in on the tornado that went into Selmer. So I don't think we got a repeat of that tonight. By the way, the Selmer tornado, National Weather Service did preliminary reports of at least EF3 damage. They may see more damage to upgrade it to a 4, but it was at least a 3. So continue to got our rotation there south of Lexington, and we've got 2 severe thunderstorm warnings. This hail was massive as it moved over northern Lake County. Looks like over the lake there, Reelfoot Lake, and our southern area there near Tiptonville has a severe thunderstorm. All this stuff southwest of Memphis really cooperating. We like that. None of that's doing a whole lot right now, but we'll keep an eye on this one as it looks like it may end up coming into Union City here soon. Jordan, what have you found out about that northern severe thunderstorm warning?
So it's tagged for ping pong ball size hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. However, that storm has a history. We have reports from the Boot Heel of Missouri that storm has produced golf ball sized hail, so almost 1 3/4 inches in diameter. Right now, the hail core, the largest hail is in Fulton County, Kentucky, but Woodland Mills, I wouldn't be surprised if another hail core is starting to pop up just here west, just north of Samberg, right across from Reelfoot Lake State Park on the Obion County side. It's going to include a big chunk of Highway 22 between Samberg and Dixie as it comes into Union City. Union City, I think your biggest threat with this storm is going to be some gusty winds. This also would include Troy. I haven't heard any update if they're actually extending this warning downstream, but if they do, I would include Dukedom, northern Weakley County. Martin, I think it would miss you to the north this time, but we're going to keep an eye on this. I've been watching the chat with the National Weather Service, and we haven't seen much of anything out of them with this storm. There are some developments starting to pop up on the south side of this line, which may try to inhibit it, but it looks like we've got maybe what we call a mini supercell right near Ridgely. It's got that supercell shape, but it's too small to really do anything severe.
All right, let's go ahead and pull back up full on Max 1 here, and there's the kind of the big picture of what we're watching. We've got our big thunderstorm moving now east of Jackson. Real quick, Jordan, are you seeing any sort of rotation at all up in Tiptonville, or is that just all pretty much wind and hail?
I'm believing this is pretty much wind and hail, but we can pull up the velocity real quick, and I almost want to say that's what we've been calling most of the rotation today. It looks a little side-lobed, but definitely some bright reds, bright pinks coming into Samberg. So right on the shore of Reelfoot Lake, probably some gusty winds coming out there. That's going to impact Spout Springs, Ronnie's Store, might clip the north side of Hornbeak, Troy, Wolverine, Protimus, Dixie, Reeves. You're downwind from this, but if there is any rotation, I would suggest it's just to the east of Ridgely. But again, it's right in kind of the range folding from the Paducah radar, and it's going to be even farther from the Memphis radar, so we may not be able to get a good look at that until it moves a little farther into Obion County.
All right, thanks, Jordan. All right, back to 1. Good job there. We are tracking our strong. Look how fast this storm is moving, racing along I-40. That looks like some hail still developing right in the middle of that thunderstorm, right on top of the interstate. That is hail in Wildersville. If you want to report to us, you can send a email to weather@wbbj.com. or you can send a message on our Storm Team 7 Facebook page. If you get any hail, we'd be interested to know and how big the hail is there in Wildersville. You can post it in the chat on our live, but we're not monitoring that, and there's so much commentary on that live that it's almost impossible for us to get reliable information on it. So if you want to send us a message on our Facebook page, you can do that. But that looks like at least a quarter-size hail or larger in the Wildersville, Yuma area right there along I-40. Still got our little inflow notch here. Just got a brand new scan, New Safford. You got some gusty winds on the way. Up north here, we're still watching you in Henry County and Carroll County, Huntington. I know it looks a little interesting on the radar, right? But that's just some gusty winds, probably 40 miles an hour. There's no chance for a tornado for you in Huntington, but those winds look pretty intense that are coming into Huntington right now. Those will stick around for about the next 10, 15 minutes. You're going to be dealing with some pretty strong winds, so heads up on that. You're right on the edge of that severe thunderstorm warning. So we've got 2 pockets of gusty winds in Huntington right now, and then east of Lexington. I think those are 2 strongest wind cores right now. So Wildersville looks pretty intense. I know you're seeing a little greens there. We'll watch it. I don't think that's a spot on the storm, though, for a tornado. But we also have, looks like still some strong winds there moving into New Safford. There's a look at the potential timing on that. Really have lost any sort of low-level rotation, I think, for any sort of threat for a tornado. And then back up here to our northern storm that Jordan was just talking about. Looks like some strong winds on the way into Sandburg, and then right over the lake. Definitely some bright colors and strong winds. Jordan, what are you seeing anything new on that?
So we do have an update. They're not continuing with the severe thunderstorm warning as it moves into Obion County. They are downgrading it to a special weather statement. So again, this storm has dropped below severe limits down to 3/4 of an inch hail, max winds of 40 miles per hour. That is going to include Sandburg, Dixie, Woodland Mills. Hornbeak, you are not included. Troy, you're not included. Union City, you are not included in this. We'll zoom in a little closer to northwestern Obion County. That includes Clayton, Old Fremont, Crystal, Walnut Log, Spout Springs, Gray's Camp, Roney Store, and a good portion of Highway 22 between the Lake Obion County line and Union City.
Jordan, why don't you tell people the difference between why they would issue a severe weather statement instead of a severe thunderstorm warning?
So a severe thunderstorm warning, you've got to have one of three things at least. You have to have at least a 58 mile per hour wind gust. This can be radar indicated or observed. 1 inch hail, either radar indicated or observed, or a funnel cloud. Obviously, if we see a funnel cloud, they're probably going to go ahead and issue a tornado warning. But again, it is one of the criteria you can use to get a severe thunderstorm warning. But right now, this storm looks to be behaving quite well. We're looking at some gusty winds coming in. We just got a new scan. Some bright pinks and oranges right to the west of Spout Springs. Clayton, Crystal, probably going to get some 40, 45 mile per hour winds out of this. A lot of the storms this evening have been struggling to get things all the way down to the surface in terms of wind. But right now, looks like we've got maybe very, very weak rotation. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if it's side-lobed with this this storm.
Looks very side-lobed. Check this out on Max 1. We're going to show you a slice through this storm right on I-40. I'll show you the hail core on it, and we'll see if we can get it to show up a little bit better. I don't know. Let's try this again to get our little hail core to show up on this. If we can slice through this storm, maybe we can see just how large this hail is. So let's go ahead and come this way on it. And so, well, Jordan, that to me though, that looks at least like a quarter size at minimum, probably closer to golf ball or larger size hail. I'm trying to get our slice tool to pick that up so we can go through it, but it's looks like it's struggling. We'll try to find it in there. All right, so we're 10, 20,000 feet up into that storm. So regardless, it's got some large hail is what we're trying to show you. Sometimes the system cooperates, sometimes it doesn't. We'll see if Jordan can get a better cut of that just so we can see how high into the storm that this hail is that's moving right along I-40 right now. Very close, it looks like. It's actually right on the county line there between Henderson and Henderson as well as Carroll County. So up north here, we've got still some strong winds that are moving now, but these are not severe thunderstorm warned for you. The strongest winds have now moved east of Huntington. That's good. I think your strongest winds of the event in Huntington are clearing on out. There's still very fast moving storm going up into Wildersville as well as Holiday tonight. North of Lexington. A little bit of rotation we're seeing there near Clarksburg. Definitely, I don't think they're going to issue a tornado warning. And it looks like the worst of it's now past you in Lexington, so things are going to calm down for you in Lexington here real soon. Look at this at a different radar. Most of the winds that are kind of clearing on out. The hail core up north here is really diminished in our northern storm, and they took away the severe thunderstorm warning that's coming into Union City. So you're probably going to have some still 40-mile-an-hour winds, as Jordan said, with that special weather statement. But the hail looks like it'll be smaller than penny size, and again a little side lobe. That's not tornadic type winds on the way, and all this stuff down in the southwest is cooperating. Jordan, were you able to get a better slice on that?
I was. We have hail up to almost probably close to 16,000 feet, so that's a very strong updraft. Would not surprise me at all if we're looking at ping pong, maybe a little bit larger golf ball. Probably not 2-inch hail, but I definitely wouldn't knock that out of the question.
So basically what you're seeing there is how far up in the storm the hail is. The purple color is the hail, and that hail core is up to 20,000 feet almost. So, and then we've got a new scan, and that is just some very large hail you can see on one in the north of Camden Road, Pecan Tree area. That is coming into Holiday, Yellow Springs, McWayne, as well as Coxburg. I'm sure I got that one wrong, on the town name. But okay, so let me explain to you kind of how this works. So when you get a big thunderstorm, right? What creates hail, you get this big thing called an updraft. So what a storm does is it sucks up all the air around it, okay? So it's basically a giant vacuum. And up under the storm, you get very strong winds. The stronger the winds are under the storm, the larger the hail can be. The way that works is those winds up under the storm hold the rain, okay, up into the frozen level of the cloud. It's just sitting up there, and it combines together, and it becomes hail. It takes really large hail to drop below, let's say, 100-mile-an-hour winds. So the stronger the winds are in the updraft, the larger the hail can be, because basically it's just sitting up there collecting other hailstones. Other frozen pellets are collecting themselves together. And then once they get big enough that they can fall past those strong winds, that's when they come down to the surface. So imagine how strong the winds would have to be when you get things like baseball-sized hail to just sit up there in the cloud, okay, because of those winds that are coming up from up under the cloud. So eventually, either the wind has to die down or the hail has to get so big that it falls down. So that's what basically creates hail. It's the updraft up under a storm. So sometimes you'll be around a thunderstorm. It always seems like the winds are blowing you towards it. If you get a big supercell, that's because the storm itself is sucking up all the winds, and that's how we can get up to 50, 60,000 feet for some of the biggest storms that we do have. Sometimes can get that high, those massive supercells that sometimes you see there that storm chasers pick up in Oklahoma or Kansas that have their own little environment to work with for hours at a time. So, but you get hail sitting up 20,000 feet. That's almost 4 miles up in the sky where the hail's sitting. So that it's probably much bigger than it is when it starts in the cloud, because you know how long it takes to fall 4 miles. It probably melts some as it gets into that warmer air before it reaches the ground. But that is some pretty intense looking hail there, Jordan.
Yeah, it is, and we just have a new update from the National Weather Service on that warning. Looks like Lexington, you've been trimmed out of the polygon. Western Henderson County, southwestern Carroll County still includes Huntingdon, though your storm threat with this cell is over Clarksburg U as well. This is going to look very close to Holiday for some large hail. Yellow Springs, McElwain, Sugar Tree, Coxburg. You all need to get indoors, stay away from windows. There's going to be some very large hail coming in. 2-inch hail, it can do some damage, folks. It'll knock out your windshield if you're not parking your car in the right spot. But of course, you're just about out of time to do that.
Yeah, McElwain, Sugar Tree, you've got about a minute, maybe 2 minutes. If not, you're going to get pelted with some of that hail. Probably out of time in Holiday, Yellow Springs. It's right along. I bet you we're going to hear some reports of some people's cars that took a pretty big hit along I-40 from this storm with some hail that was on it that drove right into it. Because if you weren't watching that on radar, you know, and you're just driving, you're like, oh, it's a thunderstorm, I'll drive into it, I'm just going to pick up the rain. Well, then all of a sudden, especially if you're going west, you're getting blasted by large hail falling down onto your windshield. So hopefully there's no wrecks down there from people's windshields getting blown out from that hail. I've seen hail as big as quarters take down windshields before. It doesn't have to be the size of golf balls to break windows, especially if you're traveling, you know, you're in a moving car, then the wind speeds, you know, don't have to, or the hail doesn't have to be as big to hit you because you're already creating force by your moving car. So go ahead, Jordan.
We've got an emergency management report from Benton County. We've got pea-size hail coming into Holiday. I can tell you it's about to get a little bit bigger than that if you're in Holiday. We've got another update on the polygon, just trimmed out farther east portions of Carroll and Henderson County. So this is really becoming a Benton County problem really quickly. So Holiday, make sure we're under a substantial structure, because big hail, it's not gonna feel good, and if it's really severe sized, it will injure you.
From what we're seeing on the radar, if that's pea-size hail, it's going to accumulate multiple inches. So the amount of return that we're getting on the radar, again, if that's pea-size hail, that is a boatload of pea-size hail. That's like, you know, sometimes you see those hailstorms that come down, and go back to one. Sometimes you see those hailstorms, right? And then it looks like it snowed, and people are getting out shovels. That's if that's pea-size hail, that's how much they're going to get. I think it's larger than that. As Jordan said, this is one of the, on the radar, it looks like one of the bigger hail events we've had the last couple of days, besides maybe the one Clarksburg hail, which we got a bunch of pictures to show you of that, which when we wrap up our Facebook Live here, we're going to show you some photos of the event of the last day or two once this storm moves over the Tennessee River. But this is some of the biggest hail returns we've seen from the last couple of days. So again, bright, large area of purple moving into holiday. I bet you you're going to get a quarter size at the least, probably bigger than that coming on in. So hopefully it doesn't take a direct hit on anybody there. Chaseville, as well as it's going to head over 641 McElwain, staying just north of I-40. So again, we got a lot of flooding concerns tonight. I know it looks like an inflow notch, it is, but we're not seeing any low-level rotation to produce tornadoes with these cells tonight. So up north here again, we've got another line. There's the Tennessee River. See it? It's moving across the river. Very little rotation north of Brewston. Very little rotation now in the Lexington-Parsons area. So I don't think we're concerned for a tornado at all with that one. And our storm up here over Nobian County looks like it is beginning to weaken some. Even that hail core that we were watching south of New Madrid looks like it's wrapping on up. So nothing severe coming in to Union City as well. So some pretty good news, I think, on what we're seeing. A little bit of velocity returns, but I don't think any of that is strong or severe type weather or anything in that nature. And then down to the south, I really like what I'm seeing with all these cells southwest of Memphis. Doesn't look like they're doing much. So kind of get the widest view I can get here of the action that's going on. All right, so really good news tonight, okay? We've got some heavy rain. The rain, it's going to be a problem for a while. But these are our last, I think, thunderstorms. We may have to watch this one near Memphis, but it really weakened. Look how strong it was down into central Arkansas as it's approaching Memphis. It really fizzled on out. And I don't think the storm energy is that much better here tonight than it is in Memphis. So if it continues this track, we got our storm up here to the north. But what you do notice, though, is a lot of rain. It's going to continue to come on in, add to the flooding concern. But I think most of the rain tonight is going to be northwest of Jackson. We may get a break along the interstate and southward here in a little bit later tonight, as all that's going to build on in to the north. So we're going to stick with this for about another 5 minutes, okay? And then 9:30, then we got to start to get ready for the 10 o'clock news. So we're going to get another update with Jordan, then we're going to show you some of the photos from what we've seen the last couple of days. So go ahead, Jordan.
All right, so good news is the hail returns on radar near Holiday have come down a little bit. There's still a little bit of a hail core crossing Highway 649 now. It'll be moving towards Coxburg. It's going to maybe clip the north side of McElwain. The National Weather Service in Nashville did elect to extend that warning into their warning area. But they did. Memphis also extended the time of this warning out to 10 o'clock, although if it's moving east at 75 miles per hour, it's probably not going to be in West Tennessee by 10 o'clock. That's why I think it's got it all the way out to Tennessee City, out into Middle Tennessee. We've got another alert coming in. I'm going to see what that is. I bet it's a flash flood warning. No, it's just a blanket flood warning for Madison, Lauderdale, Crockett, and Dyer. That is for the South Fork of the Forked River, and a flood warning for Hardeman County. That's the Hatchie River through Bolivar. So we got a couple of new flood warnings coming in. That's not really surprising. We were expecting inches upon inches of rain over yesterday, today, tomorrow, and Saturday. Could total quite a bit of rainfall here in West Tennessee.
All right, let's pull Max one up full, and then I'll get Jordan to pull his up full, and we'll show you some of the pictures that we have. We wanted to thank all of our viewers. We had hundreds of photos from the storm event from yesterday and today. We've picked some of our favorites. There were some of our favorites we didn't get built in time because we jumped on Facebook Live, so we wanted to update you on the storms. But here's a look at some of our favorites. This one was towards the Beach Bluff area of that low-level rotation. Tyler Dutton sent in that photo. Here's some low rotation as well in Adamsville. This is actually this morning. Jada Clark sent in that photo. That was when we had all those supercells one after the other. This was from today. This is the one that did some storm damage north of Pickwick Dam. This was a supercell thunderstorm we broke in for, remember, right around 5 o'clock for the 5 o'clock news. Here's some of the damage yesterday or overnight from Grand Junction. Here's some of the damage in Morris Chapel. We've got a full report coming up from the damage in Selmer tonight. Look at these hailstones in Clarksburg. That looks at least an egg size, I bet, in that girl's hand. Kayla, thanks for sharing in that adorable photo of your daughter and the large hail. And Christy Lane sent in this photo of the hail in Clarksburg as well. And this is why we tell you turn around, don't drown. This is a washed away road in Chester County. You don't realize if the flash flooding was going over that road at the time, you wouldn't even know the road had been washed out. Here's some more of the flooding in the Huntington area. All right, Jordan, let's show some of your favorite photos.
All right, folks, first things first, I have two different views of the supercell that ended up impacting Selmer last night. This one was a picture from Ethan Ray from the community of Mitchie looking towards Selmer. Besides that, we have Mike Stone, his picture of he's on the backlit side of this storm. So all that lighting you see there, that's from lightning. That's the wall cloud coming into Selmer. We've got some damage in Adamsville from Amber Barham, but also we have this view of some lightning in McKenzie from Haley Hughes. Some of the gnarliest lightning we saw last night happened well after sunset. And last but not least, this might be the biggest hailstone of the week. That is from Huntington, Charles Hermes. That looks to be about a baseball-sized hailstone. It's about what a baseball looks like in my hand, but that's so we had some pretty big hail here in West Tennessee with this system.
All right, we got one more hit coming up on TV here now for the next couple of minutes, and then we'll see you tonight at 10. We're going to end our Facebook Live after this TV hit. All right, Chief Meteorologist Joel Barnes here just with a quick update. We still do have our severe thunderstorm warning. It is now over into Benton County, but it was producing some large hail just a few minutes ago right along I-40. No tornadoes with any of these storms tonight. We do have a little bit of an inflow notch, but there's that hail just to the east of the Holiday area. Probably up to at least golf ball size hail was showing up on the radar here as it's crossing 641. It's beginning to weaken a little bit. Still got our inflow notch, but not much for low-level rotation. So we're not expecting a tornado as this moves east of the Tennessee River. Up north, we had some gusty winds that did come into the Huntington area. Just probably 30-mile-an-hour wind gusts right now, 40 tops coming in to Camden. Even the wind has died down significantly on the southern edge of our supercell here as it turned into more of a hail maker. So we're looking at maybe 30, 40-mile-an-hour winds there. Not a big deal. That's moving across the Tennessee River. We did have a thunderstorm we were watching earlier near Lake County. That one's really running out of gas. You got a little cell coming into Union City. Maybe a little bit of hail there north of Dixie. This is not a severe thunderstorm. Doesn't look like it's really doing a whole lot, and not seeing anything that jumps out as strong winds on the velocity. Some really good news to the southwest of us. We're still watching a couple of these storms, but they are struggling to do much of anything at all. So we may have seen the end of our severe weather with this cell that's clearing on out tonight. We're still going to keep an eye on some of these things off to the west, but as far as I think any sort of significant severe weather, I think we're probably going to be good to go. But we're going to watch things closely. There's another storm in Memphis we're watching. We'll have a full report though tonight at 10, plus a recap. We've got some really neat photos that you've sent in from the event the last couple of days, and we'll share those with you as well. So we'll see you here tonight at 10.